Hey, what's going on, fam? So just another quick video about the Ahmaud Arbery case. I know most of you know the details, or at least basically what's going on, but just a quick synopsis. The brother Ahmaud Arbery, 25-year-old black man, was running in his neighborhood in Brunswick, Georgia. Just jogging, exercising, staying healthy like any of us should. And some the white supremacist named Gregory McMichael and his son Travis, saw this black man running down the street and said, "Oh, there's a black man running down our street," and that's literally what they said on the um, 911 recording. Is, "Oh, there's a black man running down our street," when the 911 call taker asked them, what sort of criminal activity is this person doing? And so they chased this brother down, because he was being followed and chased down by a truck, and then they went and cut him off in the road. He started running the other direction because he sees these demented white supremacists with guns trying to stop him, and he already knows the climate we live in, and he knows the kind of danger he's in as a black male, so he ran the other direction. And because this brother ran the other direction, these white supremacists decided to approach him even further and chase him down even further with the gun. And when they got close enough, he tried to fight them for the gun because, of course, he knows that what these white supremacists are capable of, and he fought one of them for the gun, and the other white supremacist shot him. So I believe he was fighting the son for the gun. My details on that may be a little bit fuzzy, but it doesn't really matter because they're both murderers. But I believe he was fighting the son for the gun, and then the father's the one who shot him, and then I think the son shot him also just to make sure he was dead. Um, but fam, this is what we should expect by now, being in a system of white supremacy. However, being someone like myself, who, when things like this aren't happening, I'm always ringing the bell about white supremacy. This is why we do it. This is why my channel exists. It's because of incidents like this. Because even though, yes, things may be going good for a while, at any moment, these white supremacists can decide to kill you. And we're a culture, we've always been a culture in America, where they're very likely to get off for killing you. This is the system of white supremacy. We already know that they use "oh, he was a suspect," which every black person fits the description. We know, we make jokes about it all the time when police officers pull you over. "Oh, you fit the description." What's the description? Black. Half the time, these criminals, if these crimes are even happening, because a lot of times these crimes are completely fabricated, and you can go look at my videos from years ago talking about white supremacy and the culture of lies that are still on this channel. So half of these stories are completely fabricated. So I'm not even sure if there was any burglaries going on in that neighborhood, period. And that wasn't a complete lie. But even if it was true, what you're supposed to do is call the police. Now, we know that this gentleman is a former police officer, aka former race soldier. And he's still a race soldier. He's just a civilian race soldier instead of a police force race soldier. We know a lot of times that even when they call the police, the intent is for the same result, which is the murder of the black person. We know half the time that the intent is the same. The intended result is the same. We know when we have these barbecue Beckies and whatever they call them, these little nicknames that they give them, Cookout Caroline or whatever. Even those people, they were calling the police with the intention of an execution. We know with Tamir Rice, they called the police with the intention of a racial execution happening. But at the very least, even if you're calling the police with the intent to have the black person killed, it's at least slightly better. I don't want to say it's much better or parse too much, because it's the same intent and it's the same result. But at least it's slightly better that you got the police involved. And also, they're bringing up the other white supremacist propaganda about how this brother was convicted of shoplifting. First of all, we should know, living in a system of white supremacy, that a lot of times these charges are false. We see with the Innocence Project, black men getting released from false convictions every day. So first of all, if he really does have a shoplifting conviction, which at this point I don't know if that's true. I don't know if anything that's being said about this brother is true. But if that part is true, first of all, A, it could be a completely bogus charge that he should have never got, and it's just based off racism. Or B, let's say he really did steal and shoplift. That doesn't make him a burglar. Shoplifting is something that people of all races do and have done. Stealing from a store and breaking into a house are two very different things. Now, yes, can someone progress from shoplifting to burglary? Yes, but the connection is not automatically there. And now that the video has come out, we can see that this really had nothing to do with burglary. He wasn't breaking in nobody's house. He was out jogging, which his mother said he did all the time. So this is a case of white supremacy. And this is why when black people like myself are always talking about white supremacy and we're getting called hoteps by the shea butters and we're getting called lazy and whatever else and every other and nogs by the Trump supporting Sambos, this is what we're talking about. Is what happened to Ahmaud Arbery. This is what we're talking about. This is why we're always trumpeting the alarm about white supremacy. This is why we emphasize the importance of discussing and acknowledging the system of white supremacy, because only in a system of white supremacy can things like this happen. Because a black man under no circumstances can chase down a white civilian and shoot and kill them and claim that they fit a damn description and not go to jail. We already see the white supremacist trick bag with the DA. First of all, two DAs in that prosecutor's office in that area had to recuse themselves. One, because they were already posting white supremacist logic before the case is even investigated, truly. So he had to get off the case. And then the other one, he has connections directly with the gentleman because the gentleman is a former police officer. He has the direct connections, personal connections with the gentleman who committed the murder. So he had to get off the case. So now this case is already on his third prosecutor, and this third prosecutor is submitting it to a grand jury. This is another trick bag. They don't ever do this for black suspects. And when they do, it's just a formality to a conviction. But you notice every time a black person gets killed, it has to go to a grand jury to see if charges should even be brought. It's not a question as to whether or not charges should be brought. And I don't know if y'all heard that background noise. That's actually white supremacists partying outside my apartment. I'm not directly outside, but outside in the public area. But again, I told y'all, family, I live in Georgia, and the restrictions are lifted, and these white supremacists are showing that they were just waiting to be the only thing that made any of them follow the rules was the fact that there were restrictions. So they're so selfish, so self-centered, so concerned about their own fun that they're willing to put people's lives at risk. But anyway, I digress. This is not about that. But I've made videos about how these people are disregarding the restrictions, even though technically they've been lifted in Georgia. But that's another video. Back to the topic, fam. I'm just ranting because of what I'm hearing outside. Fam, this is the system of white supremacy. This is what we have to understand. This is why we have to understand white supremacy. Also, fam, y'all know I spend a lot of time going in on suicide down ballot strategies. This is why, fam. Are any of these down ballot Democrats going to pass any laws to stop the Ahmaud Arbery's? Name one. Name the down ballot Democrat. The local Democrat in Brunswick, Georgia, that is pledging to stop the Ahmaud Arbery's. Name the ballot initiative anywhere in the nation that's pledging to stop the Ahmaud Arbery's. You see, fam, this is why we can't waste time on suicide down ballot strategies. This is why we can't go around Not talking about white supremacy. Damn, yeah. That was a rough cough. But anyway, fam. And no, I don't think I have the virus. I just have a cough. I always have a cough. I'm a smoker, so I have a smoker's cough. But anyway, back to the video, fam. The This is why we can't be running around with suicide down ballot strategies. Because these politicians have to commit to a black agenda. Nothing else matters. This is what we all agreed to when we started the Descendant of American Slaves / Foundational Black American Movement, is that we can no longer go for these universal policies. We have to draw a line. A universal policy is not going to help an Ahmaud Arbery. It's not. A people of color minority policy that's going to come from a local Democrat, at best, if they do anything to address the Ahmaud Arbery case, is not going to solve the problem. And we have no more time to waste. Ahmaud Arbery had no more time to waste. That's why he's dead now. We have no more time to waste. We can't waste our time on suicide down ballot strategies, and we can't go around denying and minimizing white supremacy for our own egos. Because a lot of black people don't even want to say the word white supremacy because that makes the white man supreme. It don't make him supreme. He already is. That's why he can do things to Ahmaud Arbery like he does and still not be in jail as I'm making this video. They're already supreme to your dumb black ass. You don't have the ability to make them supreme. They're already supreme. They've made themselves supreme by being able to do things like kill you without consequence. So all this ego about, I don't want to acknowledge and I don't want to call it white supremacy because that makes them supreme, you're an idiot. They're already supreme. The only thing you're going to do to not make them supreme is to acknowledge it. It's like Alcoholics Anonymous. What do they tell you? The first step to not being an alcoholic is acknowledging that you are an alcoholic. Because if you won't even acknowledge the problem, you can't fix it. And that's with anything in life. Any problem in life. If you won't even acknowledge that it's a problem, there's no way that you can fix it. Because you're saying it's not a problem. So if you won't even acknowledge that white supremacy exists and that it's a problem, there's nothing that you're going to come up with that's going to fix it because you're not really addressing the problem. Last thing I want to say, fam, is on this, should we even support the brother Ahmaud Arbery? Now, I wanted to talk about it because my channel is about white supremacy, and what happened to this brother can happen to any of us. But beyond this video, I'm saying, fam, we really probably shouldn't even be talking about this. I won't be talking about this again after this video. Why am I saying that? Because beyond the need to address this topic in the way I did, just to drive the points home and to drive the importance of why I've made my channel and why my channel even exists in the first place. But beyond making that point, we really shouldn't be talking about this. You know why? Because Sleazy Merritt is already on the job. We already know how Sleazy Merritt gets down. He's going to have the mother all concerned about her settlement bag and not about her son's death and his murder. It's going to be all about the settlement bag. She's going to be out forgiven and not saying that it's racism and not calling that out for what it is. Sleazy Merritt's going to be out trying to elicit sympathy, acting like he's the next Malcolm X, Mr. Pro-Black Warrior, when all he's doing is in it for a settlement bag, and he's going to have the family apologize, and then he's going to act like he had nothing to do with them apologizing. But he's going to be sitting right there, right beside them, making sure that they stay on script every time they appear in the media. He's already beside her. He was already beside her on CNN and on Roland Martin's show and other places. So we already know Sleazy Merritt's in the mix. He's already representing the family. So, fam, until we see the family stand up for justice, we're not going to stand up for these individual cases. Yes, we're going to keep fighting for things like reparations because we need that, because that is the only way that we're going to have the resources to protect ourselves instead of relying on white supremacy and white society, who we clearly can't rely on at this point in 2020, after 500-600 years of racism and oppression. We clearly can't rely on white supremacy and white society, so we need reparations so we can protect ourselves. Otherwise, we have nothing else to talk about politically. That's why we don't have no ballot initiatives and suicide down ballot to talk about, because this is a waste of our time. We need a black agenda, or we don't have nothing to talk about. Politics is useless to us unless it's going to bring us a black agenda. Which is why we don't need to be wasting time, wasting resources, trying to suicide down ballot unless we're getting a black agenda. Then it's not suicide down ballot. Then it really is just voting down ballot and being smart. Black agenda down ballot. But we're not doing any more suicide down ballot, fam. And we need to stop this, even beyond the A-dunce Negro. It's just the average black person and the average black community. We have to acknowledge white supremacy. That is the first step to solving the problem. And until we acknowledge white supremacy, this will continue. But anyway, fam, we cannot talk about Ahmaud Arbery, or we should not be talking about Ahmaud Arbery, until we see that the family is on code. And if we do not see that they're on code, we stay out of this case. Whatever happens, happens. Tough luck. We're going to keep fighting against white supremacy in general, but for specific people, until we see their family members stand up and speak out and not settle and sell their families' lives for settlement bags, until we stop seeing black adults selling their children for settlement bags, until we stop seeing forgiveness, poisonous forgiveness coming from the families of these victims, we need to stay out of these cases. So yes, I'm speaking on this because of the lesson it teaches to black people and how you're not even safe jogging. But beyond this video, I'm not speaking about this case, because we have to learn our lesson one way or another. But anyway, fam, that's another video. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.